Hey guys, Uli here from Live as Lions, where we are in pursuit to live wild and free. In today's episode, I would like to talk with you about values. Values are the signposts of our life that help us to navigate through it. Not a day goes by where we don't need to kind of go back to our values in order to make decisions. Do I want to eat food that does not involve killing animals over a big juicy steak? Do I rather work long hours and make more money, or do I prefer working less hours and have more time with my kids? Every day we are coming back to our values in order to make decisions, what sits right with us in order to get through life. So I have a story for you guys. I received an email from a colleague of mine. See, we every 6 to 8 months, we come together as a group and we just see each other. We talk about how everybody is doing. It's a very jolly time. It's a good time to check in with each other. And one of my colleagues responded saying, "Hey guys, for this next upcoming meeting, I won't be able to make it. I have a lot going on right now, and therefore count me out. Also, for any future meetings, I won't be there." And we had a good time, guys, but gotta move on. And I was able to identify, reading this email, I was upset. And I was sitting there a bit with this feeling, and I was like, what is going on here? You know, is it something he said? Is it something how he said it? I definitely was able to identify this doesn't sit right with me. And I read through the email again, and I realized there's nothing wrong with what he said. It was not insulting. It was not disrespectful. He even said something that I, in the first time reading it, didn't even read. Hey guys, I really value you guys, and I cherish the time we had together. You know, it's just I'm busy. But in the moment, I received it as, guys, I'm gonna break up with you. You can do your little stupid meetings, but hey, I moved on. And please don't bother me about any future meetings. Somehow that's what I received, and I realized, I felt rejected. I felt I got dumped. And again, it's not what he communicated, it's what I received. So I thought about it. Why did I receive it like this? And I realized, I wish at least he would have said it different. I wish he would have said, guys, I won't be able to make it to the next one. What a bummer. I would have loved to be there. I can't wait for the next one. Hopefully I will make it to that one. In general, my schedule is pretty full with online stuff, and my capacity for that is full. However, if you're in my area, please hook me up, and let's grab a beer. That's what I would have wished he would have said, but he didn't. And then I was able to identify that's how I would have said it. And again, there's nothing about what he said that was wrong. And bottom line was, I identified I have a huge value when it comes to inclusion. And that's a big strength of mine, that it makes me a good coach. I welcome everybody in. I treat everybody on eye level. If it's the homeless guy from the street, or if it's the multimillionaire, I always welcome them the same, and I treat them the same. I'm all about giving everybody the feeling of, I am come as you are, I'm here at the right place. But there was a second part of this email that I was attracted to, because it was a clear line, a clear boundary saying, count me out for this next one, and from here on out, also for the future ones. And I thought, he could have ghosted us. He could have just not responded. But he did respond, and he responded actually clear and with good boundaries. And he just said no. And I combined those two, this high value of being inclusive and welcoming, and at the same time, this attraction to a clear boundary that everybody can see and understand and should not overstep. And I realized, I know this. This is from the value coaching that I'm doing. It is about having a value that you hold so highly and so tight that comes hell high water, you do not break with it. But by doing so, you forget to keep yourself in check if this holding on to this value is still healthy. And then it happens that a value like being inclusive and making sure everybody feels welcome and loved turns into something bitter, like having unhealthy boundaries and taking care of everybody but yourself. And that can also happen with other values. When, for example, a value like being thrifty, wanting to make sure that the finances you have are spent proper and in the right way, and being a good steward of what you're entrusted with financially. But if you are holding on too much to that, well, when does it turn into being greedy and hoarding everything and not wanting to spend money on anything, giving it away, or just being possessive of all the things you have? When does this happen? When does thrifty turn into greedy? And to counter greed, you can be generous, but when you're very generous, when does generosity turn into being wasteful? And you just throw money out left and right wherever you can, and before you know it, you're broke, and your whole family is going to be like, well, why did you waste all our money? When does loyalty, which is a great value, right? It's so good. But what happens when loyalty turns into self-sacrifice? Giving and giving and giving, and even if things get harder and harder, you still hang in there, and before you know it, you break your neck. You burn out, because your value of loyalty, that is an awesome value, but you were only focused on that and holding on to that for so long and so hard that it turns into self-sacrifice, and you get hurt. To counter that, you got to do some self-care. Take care of yourself. I always say self-care before relational maintenance. Put the mask on first, the airplane and all that. But when does self-care turn into being selfish? When you just take care of yourself and you don't take care of others. When you just think about what you need first, and then, okay, who else is here? Oh, it's your turn when I'm done. So when do values flip? Trust. Awesome value. I don't know if all these values. I don't know if anyone would argue with me like, oh, this is not a good value. But when does trust turn into being naive? And just trust everybody without questioning the motives, or without even knowing them. You just trust strangers. When does it turn into being naive? So you got to be cautious, right? But if you're too cautious, when does that turn into mistrust? Like mistrusting everybody. Because you're greedy, maybe, and you're holding on to all your money, and you're like, everybody's out for my money. But you see how values can flip. And I had to check myself after receiving this email. Not just that, first off, it triggered something in me that I had to look into. But second off, also that I'm like, hey, there are these two things that I'm able to identify, and it is really this good value that I cherish so much, that I also know that it can become a burden. So I hope this helps you, and maybe this is now food for thoughts or good conversations with your family, with your spouse, with your colleagues, to talk about your values and how the dynamics of these values can change and even flip to kind of like the Mr. Hyde side, instead of being Dr. Jekyll. So let me know. write into the comments what your thoughts are. I would love to hear from you. I'm also learning how to be wild and free, so I never stop growing. I'm a work in progress. I also want to hear from you, of course. But at the same time, this is also kind of stuff that I'm covering with my coaching. So if you want to talk more about it, feel free to hook me up, okay? I wish you guys a great week, a great day. And I see you next time to continue being in pursuit to live wild and free. All right, bye-bye.